It was a chilly winter afternoon in New York City. The wind whipped through the busy streets as people hurried to escape the cold. Donald Trump, dressed in a long blue coat and his signature red tie, strolled along Fifth Avenue. He had just finished a meeting and decided to take a walk to clear his mind, enjoying the energy of the city around him. As he passed a corner near Times Square, something caught his eye. Sitting on the cold sidewalk, bundled up in ragged clothes, was a woman. Her hands were trembling as she held up a cardboard sign that read, "Veteran in Need. Please help." Trump paused, his footsteps faltering as he looked down at her. The woman's name was Teresa Hensley, and her tired eyes spoke volumes. She had served in the military for 12 years, but was now homeless, living on the streets of New York. Her once proud uniform had been replaced with the tattered clothes of a woman who had lost everything. But in her eyes there was a flicker of hope that Trump couldn't ignore. Trump knelt down in front of her, blocking out the bustle of the city. "Ma'am," he said softly, "what's your name?" Startled, Teresa looked up. She wasn't used to people acknowledging her, especially not someone like Donald Trump. Teresa Hensley," she replied quietly, her voice barely above a whisper. "You're a veteran, I see," Trump said, his voice filled with concern. Teresa nodded. "I served in the Army for 12 years, got injured overseas, and after that, life just got harder. I lost my job, my home, and now I'm here, just trying to survive." Trump's heart sank as he listened to her. A woman who had served her country, only to be abandoned when she needed help the most. He couldn't just walk away. "You don't deserve this," Trump said, his voice firm but compassionate. "I'm going to help you." He pulled out his phone and quickly dialed a number. His assistant, Margaret, picked up on the first ring. "Margaret, find me the closest hotel with availability and call a doctor. I need someone who can give her a quick checkup. It's urgent." Margaret didn't hesitate. "Right away, Mr. Trump." Trump turned back to Teresa. "Stay right here," he said, his eyes softening. "We're going to get you taken care of." He walked a few steps away to give her some space, and then returned with a steaming cup of coffee and a sandwich from a nearby vendor. "Here, Teresa. It's not much, but it's warm." Teresa accepted the food gratefully, her hands shaking from the cold. As she ate, Trump asked her more about her life, her service, her injuries, and how she ended up on the streets. She told him about the friends she had lost in combat, the pain she had endured, and how difficult it was to transition back into civilian life. A sleek black SUV soon pulled up, and a driver stepped out. "Mr. Trump," the driver said, "we've got everything ready." "Teresa," Trump said gently, "we're going to get you to a safe place." Teresa looked up at him, confusion in her eyes. "Why are you doing this? You don't even know me." Trump smiled softly. "Because someone should have done it a long time ago. You deserve better." The driver led them to the SUV, and they drove to a nearby luxury hotel. When they arrived, the staff, prepped by Margaret, welcomed Teresa as if she were a VIP. She was escorted to a suite on the top floor where a hot shower, fresh clothes, and a warm bed awaited her. Soon after, a doctor arrived to examine her, giving her prescriptions for her ailments and offering advice on how to regain her health. Trump stayed by her side, making sure everything went smoothly. Meanwhile, Margaret had been working behind the scenes to help Teresa. She had contacted Veterans United Support Services, a nonprofit organization that specializes in helping homeless veterans reintegrate into society. Within the hour, a representative named Lisa arrived to meet with Teresa. "We're going to help you with housing, job training, and anything else you need," Lisa said, sitting beside her. "You're not alone anymore." Teresa's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you," she whispered. "I don't know how to thank you, Mr. Trump." Trump stepped forward with a reassuring smile. "You don't need to thank me. You earned this a long time ago." The next morning, Teresa had a new plan for her life. Veterans United had found her temporary housing, and Trump had arranged for his foundation to cover her rent for the first year. He even handed her a check to help with any immediate expenses. As Trump prepared to leave, Teresa stopped him. "Mr. Trump," she said, her voice steady now, "you've changed my life in ways I can't describe. Thank you so much." Trump smiled and replied, "You're going to do great things. Just promise me one thing." "What's that?" Teresa asked. "Pay it forward," Trump said, his voice filled with sincerity. Teresa nodded, a newfound determination in her eyes. "I will." As Trump walked out of the hotel and back into the bustling streets of New York, he felt a quiet sense of satisfaction. In a matter of hours, one life had been transformed, and for Teresa Hensley, the future suddenly looked a whole lot brighter.